All right, please stand. Before I start the meeting, I just want to take 10 seconds for a time of silence for the tragedies that we've had in Washburn the last 2 weeks. All right, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, calling the meeting to order.
We're on number 3.
Yep. Has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, second. Any more discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Approve the July 14th meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, any more discussion? If not,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Tim? And yes. Okay, approve the August 4th, 2025 public hearing meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Nope.
If not,
Yes.
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 And yes. Okay, approve the July financials.
Move to approve.
Second.
Jamie. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor? Tim?
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
And yes. Okay, approve of bills.
So move.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? If not, all in favor? Tim?
Yep.
Yes.
And yes. Okay, Riverboat Saloon special event permit.
Tyler is having his street dance again on September 6th, so he is just asking for the special event permit to move his bar outside, like he always does, right outside the bar.
Okay. Move to approve.
Second.
Any more discussion? Not hearing any? Tim?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And yes. Okay, Washburn Life, waiver of fees. Ron Johnson.
Washburn Life is asking to have the fees waived for our Small Business Saturday Craft and Vendor Show, which would be Saturday, November 29th. This would be the 4th year, I think, we've done it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any more discussion? If not, Tim?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
And yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Washburn Youth Sports, waiver of fees.
Hey, Tracy.
We have a small committee and we are requesting a waiver of the fee to rent the hall for a meal after our color run on August 17th. So we just want to feed people after they run.
Sure.
Move to approve.
Yep. I'll second that.
Any more discussion? Tim?
Yes. Thanks, Tracy.
Yes.
And yes. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, purchase of land, Sam, is it, how do you pronounce his last name?
Sam Freet,
Freet?
he was not able to be here tonight, he is out of town. I had talked to him with him last week. So there is a piece of land behind his property that is unplatted. It's like a small trapezoid piece of land, and he is looking to buy some other land over there. So he came and asked if he could purchase it. It's a trapezoid. That's the map that you guys have. the county doesn't have any records of who it belongs to. We don't as a city, so I told him that if he would get it surveyed, and then at least it could get added to the tax roll on there, he would be responsible for paying for all the recording costs, the getting it surveyed, and getting that turned over into his name and added to that, and then he can have that behind his house. We did something similar like this back in 2022. The guy paid $50 for the little chunk of land before that, and he paid all the surveying and recording fees. So I guess that's what Sam's asking for, is to buy this unplatted piece of land that's here for $50, and then he'll pay all the recording fees and to have it surveyed. Because right now it's unplatted, so it has to have a description in order for it to be recorded.
And the land's basically useless for anything else except for joining, so.
Correct.
I would move that we would do as we did back in 22, to sell it to him for $50, providing that he pays for all the surveying, register of deeds, or registering of the deed and all of that stuff.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, just a quick question. Is there any like easements or anything that we should be aware of that you know of? or-
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Yeah, well, if there is an easement, they would stay in there.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, the
You know,
easements
'cause you-
will always stay there.
Yeah,
Okay, just
e-
making sure we don't,
Right,
have
yeah,
any
easements
issues.
are lifetime no matter who owns the property. so.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I did go down and look at the property. There is an alleyway where there's a power line through it, so all easements would stay, so. All right, any more discussion? If not, Tim?
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
And yes. All right, thank you. Paul Schultz, number 12, Rough Rider Road conditions. If you would like to join us,
I can't
Paul?
hear very good, so you guys are gonna have to speak up a little bit.
hey, Paul.
Okay.
I listen to you guys on the internet,
Mhm.
and you whisper too much.
Maybe that's intentional.
Yeah, okay, I've talked to people about this, in prior years. I can't remember who, because seems like this, county, or that city commission changes hands quite often, And I was told that it was a gray area about fixing that road, and,
Gray area meaning they don't know whether it's county or whether it's city or just,
well, that's what I was told.
okay.
Okay, so I went to the Register of Deeds office, and according to the plotting and everything, it's part of Northgate Road,
Right,
which would belong to
To the city,
Washburn,
yeah.
yeah.
Rough Rider Road,
Rough Rider Road,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Rough Rider.
yeah.
I get.
That's okay.
I get confused.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've, fixed it probably 3 years in a row now. During, Memorial Day, people come to the cemetery to put flowers out and visit their dead ones. And it's pretty tough in a couple spots to get through there. Anyway, so I fixed it 3 years now and put some gravel in the holes and tried to make it usable during Memorial Day. And I don't know what you guys want to do with it, but it needs to be attended to one way or the other.
Yeah, there is a proposed project up here, but Jamie's the street commissioner. So I guess my recommendation would be is that we turn this over to Jamie and that you can work with Adam. If there's some pavement that needs to be, do you think if they pulled some pavement out of there and just gravel the
Well-
thing? Because pavement and gravel don't mix very good,
Well, if you look at the road, and the problem of it is that if we remove the gravel, remove the pavement and just go to gravel, the road is in tough shape down in this area, to where it's not gonna last much longer.
Right.
So we're almost gonna be down to and Bangsteads. Which I don't know if you want that much gravel in town or not. That's the problem that I look at. Cause it'll be all the way past, Donnie,
Donnie Miller.
Miller's,
Miller,
Donnie
yeah.
Miller's.
Yep.
And, right out from Donnie Miller's, there's a bad spot there that's swollen, probably last another year, and it's starting to come out now.
Yeah.
So, that's a problem. If you can. The biggest problem is right in this area, right about in here. Just right on the border of the cemetery. There's another spot up in here, but this is really bad.
Yep.
And then this road that goes around here, it's breaking off to where it's just about to the center of the road, where it's breaking off the pavement that's there, which is only about this. And this is actually before everybody's time that's here,
Highway 83.
but it's old Highway 83. And, there's been nothing done to it since it was Highway 83.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of, overtar that's been put in this area here. But it's not any good.
This is part of the project area, right, Jamie?
Well, Custer is, this is
Okay.
one road over,
Okay.
Yeah, Custer's here.
so,
But
yeah.
actually to fix it with pavement, I would just grind it, recycle it, and put it back on again. That's what I'd do with it, but, cause if you get gravel on there, it's fine, you know?
But-
It can go good that way too, but I don't know how these people down in here are gonna be happy with that, you know,
Right.
going to gravel, cause how far down there are we gonna go? You know, because it ain't any good all the way down to, actually that, is that Woodgate? I think that's Woodgate, that crossroad, by, I don't know, it's this one down here. It's pretty tough in this area in here, and years ago, there was a new batch of pavement that was put in here because when they crossed the highway with the drainage project there, the highway always kept sinking in all the time, and, so there was some new pavement put on that, but it's up to you guys, but something's gotta be done with it.
Well, I guess my recommendation to the commission is that we task Jamie as a street commissioner, and he can work with Adam and probably Eric too, to come up with maybe a temporary and then a permanent here, you know what I mean? To get a crew in here this year was probably pretty difficult, but at least to get it on the docket for proceeding.
Well, for now, actually what they could do is clean the holes out,
Yeah.
fill them with some cold mix or something.
Yep.
You know.
I can talk to Adam and then see, you know, like you said, the short and long term. The only, you know, if you do this Custer Drive, you know, like that's kind of the next thing coming up. And then, you know, you do this one, these guys special wise are gonna get a double whammy, aren't they? They're gonna be primary in both streets. So the guy goes to new construction and rip out and replace, these guys are gonna get hit twice right off the bat.
Yeah.
So that'll be kind of a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
But,
So you and Adam wanna check into that?
Yep.
Come back with a plan?
Mhm.
So, well, thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Okay.
Yeah,
Appreciate
it's been overlooked for a while, and we'll
Thank
see
you.
about taking care of it.
Yep.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
All right, quality asphalt estimate. Eric, are you part of this?
No,
is it?
I don't think so.
Adam?
Is that Adam?
Yep, it's all in your guys' packet,
Right here.
so, I thought, Jamie, you should have a copy of it as well, but this is what our estimate is for this year to replace, approximately 5,400 square feet and the mobilization.
This is our normal fall repairs usually, right?
That is correct, yep.
So, and it's, Adam's looked this over and you and Jamie?
Yeah, we both went around, looked at it, yes, this is the,
Okay, this is what you're recommending?
yeah, this is the fall repair, yeah.
Okay,
So,
I would move that we would accept this and go ahead with the repairs.
I'll second that. Is there any more discussion? If not, Tim?
Yep.
yes.
Yes.
And yes. Okay, charitable gaming policy.
Okay, so this is what we had a public hearing about, what we talked about last meeting. Nothing's changed since then. I guess our main kind of decision that we'd wanna make, we'd probably want the beginning policy. Just because it's a new, with August, that's when Century Code's going to affect, you need to have that on the books, right? If we wanna have the local nexus requirement or not. What we want that, and if so, what that should look like. So, it's just open discussion on that, if anyone has any questions or comments.
Have we had the city attorney look at this for the local nexus?
It's written by an attorney from the League of Cities. So no, we haven't had our city attorney look at it, but it came from an attorney's hands.
Okay,
So it's not like just an idea
okay.
that somebody had.
I know at this, meeting, there was concerns from the American Legion. Pretty much spoke about if it would, kind of tie their hands a little bit for donating outside the city of Washburn.
Sure, what specific portions, and you're the one that brought that up, what specific portions of the policy would do that?
That was their concern.
You're the one that said that.
Actually, you
though.
brought that up, Mark, not
Yeah.
them. They never said a word.
Yeah, they never said anything
Well-
about that.
But I brought it up, but they,
But I visited with them afterwards and that wasn't a concern of theirs, so I was just.
oh, okay.
I
Well,
think it was
just the discussion at the meeting, not after the meeting, was, you know, because, the American Legion is also outside the city of Washburn, how that would, because all their gaming comes together, how they could separate that, I guess. That's my concern.
So it's your concern.
So what,
Well, I mean, just overall.
I guess what portion, I'm looking at it here, what portion of the local nexus requirement, if you wanna look at it, would change how someone can spend money, because legally you can't even do that. So where would that come from, I guess? What's the issue with the actual policy?
I guess my issue is, it looks like what the city of Washburn has been doing. Seems like it's clarified in the guidelines, and I don't know why we would consider changing anything.
Well, because before, you could have this, but if you wanted to maintain any sort of preferential for having a local nonprofit, you now need that in the policy. So that's why we change it. So that's why we as a board need to decide if that's important to us or not. And that's all it is. So I'm not sure there's nothing about funding or anything like that, so I'm not sure where that's coming from, but yeah.
Would you be okay with more, information to try to, before a decision is made?
Yeah, I would like some more information, actually. So you seem to be fine not having a local nexus and kind of pushing just anybody to be able to come in here and do the charitable gaming. My one question that I'd just like an answer to is, what benefit is it to Washburn to have this thing wide open to anybody? How does that benefit our community?
I actually haven't been able to look into it in depth to where, I guess, before I would vote on this, I would like more information provided to answer any other questions that might come up. So, like you, to find out more before, is there a rush to vote this in?
Yeah, we need a policy in August, was kind of how it is, and we've had 2 months to look at this, and
We had a public hearing.
Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
full public hearing and
Oh, yeah.
everything, so. Do you have any specific information you'd be lacking?
Like I said, I'm still looking at all the variables.
So in those variables, just help me out here.
ideologically, so big
Mhm.
picture, what benefit would there be to our community of having this thing wide open and not having someone from our community running this?
I'm not
What-
sure.
Okay. So, and that's why I'm on the other side of this, is I see a possible benefit to our community by having this.
Mhm.
And I've done a lot of thinking and lots of looking, and I can't really come to that what would be the benefit of having this wide open to our community? So I'd like just ask anybody here if they would be able to help me out with that question, I guess.
Yeah.
Is there any benefit to our community to having this wide open? Can we do open public comment?
Sure.
I have a question. What would be the detriment of having this wide open?
That's what I'm looking into.
So I explained it at the last meeting and then at the public hearing that gambling has with it inherent harms. And the way to kind of balance that out, at least when they did the Century Code for charitable gaming, was to then have those benefits be localized. That way there's charity involved with the gaming. It's not like Las Vegas where it's profit driven, completely for-profit enterprises. So there's specific requirements in there that they can have operational costs covered, but then there's local giving. So the benefit to having the people be from our local areas, their heart is in our community. So we can't tell them how to spend the funds, but they're the people you see at the post office, their neighbors on the street, that sort of stuff. So when these decisions are being made for how to disperse of these charity funds, that their heart is with us, who they collected the money from. So then any benefit from the gaming is as close as possible to any detriment from the gaming. So that's the kind of thought process with that.
Just to clarify, I have looked into the positive things, and there are positive things to having this. But I'm just want to make sure that we look at the detriment, like she brought up, to make sure that we're not overlooking anything. You know what I mean? I see your point. I agree with you on 99% of it, but I just always want to look to see how this is gonna fall out without 100%. When I vote on something, I'd like to be 100% sure this is what we wanna do,
Makes sense.
you know? I'm not disagreeing with what has been presented,
Yeah,
you know? But I just wanna make sure that there's something in there that we're not rushing into this and, well, we didn't think of this, we didn't think of this, you know? I would like to visit actually more with the gaming organizations, the American Legion and North Dakota Leathernecks, and get a little bit more information available. I haven't really had a chance to visit with either group after that meeting to make a sound decision. That's all I'm asking.
sure. I mean, that's fine.
I just wanna say, by having gaming locally, we're benefiting more than having it outside, I believe. I don't know what's gonna happen once it goes outside, how's that money gonna get back to us? How much trouble are we gonna get having that money to come back to helping the community compared to the local?
Right. Yeah.
So,
And that's kind of my point too, is because I know the American Legion does fantastic things for our community and other communities. I just don't want to tie their hands or anyone else by this.
I don't think Keith is tying anybody's hands.
No, not at
No,
all.
no, I
I
know.
think he's just trying to come up with something so that if it does go outside, they follow the same rules that it's inside the community.
I agree.
I think between this League of Cities, and I think that's what Dan's saying, has drafted a really good, policy here. And we've already had a public hearing, we've had that. We've had the information marked for 2 months, we've had plenty of time as commissioners to look it over and do our research. And I think it's time to make a decision on it, one way or the other.
Sure.
So, it's just that you have to take the time to look it over and do the research.
True.
So,
Yep. One more question?
Does the gaming that the American,
Oh, can you state your name, please?
my name is Christine Potter.
Okay.
Does the gaming that the American Legion does at Wilton and at Underwood stay in Wilton and Underwood? Or does that all come back to the Washburn pot?
That's a good question.
I haven't exactly looked at the books, but from statements I've heard from them in the past, they try and, I apologize. I haven't exactly like looked and like actually calculated, well, this percent from here, that percent went back there. But from what I've heard them say in the past is whatever came from there, they try and keep there, is kind of the idea. Whereas there's just other charitable organizations that are doing good things, but it can go anywhere. Like one that does it is Furry Pets Rock and Rescue or something like that. So then they're trying to get a bunch of operations around, but then that goes to specifically pet stuff, right? So that's kind of the idea, which is obviously, a very good thing to do, and that's that sort of thing. But I guess that's just kind of what we're talking about, is do we want to open this wide open to everywhere? Because in the big picture, if everyone's doing that, you would think that maybe then the slush is coming around in equal proportions of whatever it may be, but that's not exactly the case right now. Because you look at the gaming, people who are doing it, I'm EMS and I have no problem with EMS obviously, but like EMS will do that and then they'll be able to support themselves and that sort of thing. So there's different like fire departments that'll run it and that sort of thing, or veterans organizations who are doing good work, might not be in our community, but doing other good work, right? But then our decision is, do we want to keep any of that good, and just to be clear, we cannot actually keep it. We cannot tell them how to spend it. I'm talking about the hard issue, right? Of those making the decisions of where that money goes. Do we want them in and living in with us here in our community, or just kind of wide open? So that's kind of the decision point.
That raised one more question for me.
No, go ahead.
Then the county is not, then we're saying that we don't want the money to go outside of Washburn limits so that it cannot be something that benefits the county.
No, we can't tell them where to spend the money. I'm just saying like where their hearts are, right? So we could get a local organization that would literally ship all the money off to wherever, to whatever it may be. And they could be all the gambling money, boom, going that way every single time to those charities that apply. That could technically happen, right? And we couldn't do anything about it, which is fine. But I'm just saying like best case scenario, if there's harm in a community, you want to keep the good as local as possible. Like all politics are best local, because then you know the people that are ruling over whatever it may be. Is kind of the thought process there. So,
I got one more question for you, Keith.
sure.
So if there's any tweaking to this, is that still available to us, correct?
Of course, yeah. And
Okay.
I don't even know, do we need another public hearing? Or is that only for the initial? For any tweaks, do we need a public hearing?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, we had the one, and that was the initial one that we had to do. Because you can change it up based off the public hearing.
Right.
Because listening to, theoretically, that's why you have the public hearing for, so you can hear the feedback. So we have it written, like, say, we can't have more than 4 sites in the city. Well, we had that public hearing, we listened to them, okay, we want to change that to 3 to 5. That's where we would make those changes from after we have that public hearing.
Like, let's just say next month, we want to get rid of the local nexus requirement. We can just do that, right? We don't need as far as I know, right? It's
Right.
a policy,
It's not
it's not an ordinance.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's not an
So-
ordinance, it's
so
just a
then-
policy.
So it doesn't need multiple readings too.
Right, and just to be clear, we do have a separate gambling ordinance, but it's not as specific, and that's the thing. So obviously it's kind of a hot topic around our state right now.
Sure.
Where there's lots of this going on, so that's why the League of Cities is sending out these emails with all this stuff in it. But,
And there was some changes effective August 1st at the legislature that revolves around gaming, which is also another reason why we want to have this policy.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification, and thank you for your good questions as well. I think between you and you've answered all my questions, so thank you.
I would move that we would accept this as written by including number 8, the local nexus.
I'll second that. Is there any more discussion? Hearing any? Tim?
Yes.
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 And yes. All right, public comment policy.
another legislature thing. She has the
Yeah, so effective August 1st, all her meetings have to allow for public comment. This policy was written to set the guidelines here of how that will look like, what that will all entail. And it includes the speaker cards that we can now have sitting up there going forward to have these filled out. They can either be filled out and turned in so that they can be given to commissioners with their information on Friday, or they can be filled out as they come here and want to be on the agenda. So we'll have to adopt this policy, and the public comment will probably go at the beginning of the agenda. As it is written, it caps the public comment per individual at 3 minutes, and then it limits to public comment for a total of 30 minutes. So if each person gets 3 minutes, that's 10 people. If you don't make it on the agenda, then you don't get time. We cut it at 30 minutes. So we're not listening for over and over. It has to be specific to our current agenda or the previous agenda. It must include the name, the address, and the agenda item from the current meeting agenda or the previous meeting agenda that the individual is addressing. Missing information from the speaker card disqualifies the individual. All comments must address the agenda item identified, be pertinent to the city, and be directed to the board as a whole. Comments may not be defamatory, abusive, harassing, or unlawful, include information that is exempt or confidential under North Dakota open records law, or interfere with any orderly conduct of the meeting. They will not have access to city's visual technology. They may not yield their allotted time to another individual. And individuals unable or unwilling to speak in person may submit written comments to the city auditor prior to the meeting. If received 24 hours before the meeting, the comments will be distributed to the board members before the meeting. Comments submitted less than 24 hours before the meeting will be distributed after the meeting. Any written comments submitted must identify the agenda item from the current meeting agenda or the previous meeting agenda that is being addressed and include the individual's name and address.
So in other words, it has to be, you just can't come in as free-for-all.
Correct.
You have to address a previous agenda item in the previous meeting or the current agenda items.
Yes. Yep. And we have to, we can change that if we want to allow for 3 minutes or longer. I think 3 minutes is a good time frame, and then we can cap that at a total of 30 minutes.
And just to be clear, at least from what we talked tonight, I think this commission would agree that we can still allow public comment on every single agenda item like we do. Just like we had in our previous one, evidence for that. But just specifically because of the Century Code, you now have to literally have it public comment time. You know what I mean? Because some cities actually don't even do that. So that's kind of the impetus for that. Some things that we kind of talked about as well was so you can change when it is, but it's probably wisest and best to have it first, because then you can have information out about a specific thing. So even though if we didn't allow back and forth on all the agenda items, it'd be good to have all the information that people would have before you vote on something, you know what I mean, instead of after it. So first is probably best, would be my recommendation at least, but beyond that, this is just another Century Code thing, so.
I got one small concern. What if somebody were to, like myself tonight, dealing with a family tragedy, come in late or after the meeting started? You know what I mean? Could they still sign a signature? Say if they came in 10 minutes after the meeting started.
It wouldn't be an issue with how our meetings are currently run, where we allow public comment, because how this will probably happen is it'll be probably rare when people actually use this. It would be my guess, and because I hope everyone knows that they can just talk whenever, except when someone else is speaking, of course. But so it wouldn't be an issue right now. But for Bismarck specifically, they don't no, you can't talk. That's how it used to be. So it would affect that, and you need to be on time. So if you missed it, it would affect you negatively. Yep.
Okay. Just want to clarify that. So.
Yep.
All right. You want to state your name, please?
Yeah, Mark Craig, I just have a question. How do you know what's on the agenda? When is the agenda approved or whatever that you can find
It's
yourself?
posted 24 hours in advance by law.
It's also posted on the website.
24 hours, so this is, the meeting is Monday, like today,
6 o'clock. Well, it's actually posted probably Friday.
It's posted Friday.
by Friday. Okay.
And it's on the website.
And then how do you find all the information, because everybody's gone for the weekend or something about, if you have questions about specific things?
Yeah, supporting information isn't, a lot of times isn't on there because it's oncoming. It's just, all that's required by law is for the agenda to be posted.
So it's posted by Friday then, or
Mhm.
by law is 24 hours?
Right, but, yeah.
6 o'clock yesterday.
Right,
It has to be
but
posted by.
Chelsea doesn't work Sundays, so she puts it on Friday, so.
Okay.
And it's
Well, that
uploaded,
was my
it's uploaded
question.
to the website, as well every Friday, and you can find it under, commission and agendas, or if you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see a headline in the news that says August meeting material, and you can find the agenda and, a lot of actually the information that goes along with the meetings as well.
Okay, thank you.
And I mean, given that it's all public information, like let's say Thursday, you wanted to call, you could literally call Chelsea and say, hey, when you send out the meeting packets to the commissioners, I'd like a copy of everything. And that's public record, you'd receive it.
Yeah.
By email, obviously, maybe print it, I don't think there's any charges for printed copies.
Yeah.
You could have it Friday, 'cause it has to be finalized
That was
Thursday
all
at
my
noon.
question was,
Yeah.
when was the agenda,
Yeah.
when is it approved or? what?
Because everything we have here is public information, so.
Okay.
Our deadline is Thursday at 4:30 preceding the meeting, so usually by Friday mornings, I have the agenda finalized.
Okay, that answers my question perfectly, thank you.
Yeah, my gang, the only question I have on this, what you wanna do for the, trying to get people on the agenda, what you wanna do there. Are you guys making it harder for people to actually get on the agenda now that you're changing the policy?
No, it's actually,
No?
no.
Okay, that's all I just wanted.
This is
We
a
had a
ch-
hard time before to get
This
on
is a
the
change in state,
agenda.
yeah, this is a change in state law.
Okay,
So this is just, comes from the League of Cities, a sample policy
all right,
to bring the city commission into conformance with the law.
okay, thank you.
To still be on the agenda though, if you have a certain thing that you wanna discuss and information that needs to be provided, that still needs to come through us so that the commissioners have that.
Right.
Now,
yeah,
if you just
I-
wanna touch on a certain topic,
Yeah.
we have to allow for public comment.
Thank you.
In the previous meeting, so now like, if people can't watch it tonight, they go back and watch the meeting, they have a question on, say the public comment, they can come to the next meeting now and talk and ask a question on it, because it can be from the prior meeting too,
Alright.
so.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks for that clarification. All right,
Well, I move that we would adopt this policy.
I'll second that. Is there any more discussion? Not hearing any, Tim?
Yes.
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 And yes. All right, public comment.
So I mean, technically, right now it'd be 30 minutes of stuff on the agenda if anyone, just according to this. So, because we have to have it at the August meeting, is that?
It's effective August 1st, yes.
So, public comment time, no one fill out, if anyone has anything specifically up on the agenda, just being honest, it might be easier just wait for that agenda item. As you've seen from the previous agenda items, we let you speak anyways, so. If there's anything, I guess, but.
Larry Thomas, I have a question.
Sure.
On the gaming policy. So the Nexus doesn't apply to the Leathernecks, correct?
Correct, yep, not retroactively.
Yeah, because they were on before August first,
Yep.
correct? Okay, that's my question.
Thank you, Larry.
Steve Johnston, where do I get a copy of this Nexus policy? I would like to read it.
It is actually currently on our website. If you go to washburnnd.com, you'll scroll down, you'll see a news headline, and it actually has its own headline that says charitable gaming policy. And it's right on the front page. Come tomorrow, I'll print you off a copy then.
Yeah,
I'm at work.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
there you go.
Thank you, Ron.
thank you, Rhonda.
Actually, I think I do have it.
So
All right.
give mine.
I can bring it on.
Okay, Washburn Financial Health Report.
Okay, this will be fun. So this is what I talked about, what I talked about kind of at our last meeting, like, you see the budget, you see the money, big numbers, surplus, debt, like all this sort of stuff, like, sure, looks good, kind of, but I kind of wanted to like learn more about that and then kind of see like big picture, how people measure this and what would be healthy, what would be unhealthy. So I was just kind of thinking of this like in healthcare terms. So like what would be a standard vital signs for this sort of patient? What are the city's financial vital signs? Is my kind of thought about it. So there was a bunch of different ways to measure that. One of them, and I'll go kind of more in depth, and this is in your packet too with this little handy dandy chart. So this is all it's not like exact because it was all done with the estimated, like basically the mid-year budget stuff. But there's a few ways to measure it. One of them being debt versus revenue, which is simply total debt versus our total revenue. So you have what's going out, what's coming in, right? Debt per capita, which is a fancy way of saying debt per person. So for each individual, yes, including children for some reason, I don't know, that's how they do it, but just debt per person, and I'll be gone into more. Debt to personal income, which makes sense. So you have this debt that you need to repay and your ability to repay it of all the citizens that are there. And then the debt service coverage ratio, which is basically how stretched our revenue is versus debt. And I'll have to read that one because I like wrote it and I came back and I wrote it again. We'll get there. Anyway, so debt versus income. So little numbers. There's copies of this that can be available later too. So I calculated our total revenue versus debt using the budget year to date. And all these numbers are an estimate, are meant to give us an idea of what our financial health looks like. We have a total of about 3.2 million total revenue estimated. And that's for 1 year. And that includes anything that come in for specials. So special is both a debt, but then also an income, because there's that separate, that we get paid through taxes. Then we have $758,000 in debt service for 2025. So then I basically wanted to see the debt versus the income, and that's measured in a percentage. So ours is at 23% is being paid for debt service each year. So 23% of the pie is going directly to debt service. So it's like, okay, cool number, but what do you measure that against? So there's something called the Government Finance Officers Association, and they recommend that to be between 10 and 15%. So not too bad, especially with the numbers I'll tell you about in a minute. So we're about 8% high on that. So then we can kind of, as a city, look at our debt, look at our income, and be like, okay, we're somewhat unhealthy, right? Somewhat unhealthy until we get to the next part. So and also just a fun fact, our total debt, and how I found this was basically we have our repayment schedule, anything after 2025, 6.5 million after 2025, and that's paid off in kind of amortized chunks as it goes along. So it obviously gets smaller and smaller, less and less per year as kind of the specials fall off, because they're however long, there's like 12 of them, whatever it is, and they'll fall off. Okay, so basically, from those initial numbers, we look a little unhealthy, but just stay with me for a second. So debt per capita. So debt per capita is the total debt a city owes divided by its population, showing how much debt each resident would theoretically be responsible for. So with the total debt of 6.5 million, and our population, according to World Population Review, was 1,275. So then you just divide the debt divided by the people, is each person owes $5,000. So sounds like a lot. Some of it's over like 20, 30 years, remember? So it's not really that much in the big picture of things. So then it's like, okay, cool numbers again. What do we measure that against? So I did the same thing for North Dakota. Like North Dakota's total debt, so obviously where we live in the community around us. And theirs, they have almost $7 billion in debt with a population of 800,000, which includes us, obviously. So we're in more debt than just the city, but that's a whole other topic. So local debt per capita is about 9,000. So with those previous numbers being about 8% high, maybe a little unhealthy, probably not, because as we've talked about in like different grant discussions and that sort of stuff, we do make a lot more money here, just as an average. So we're actually 3,000 below that. And this will all become somewhat useful in a minute, so just stick with me. But so we're looking really, really good in that area. So like if we have debt, we have a great ability to repay it as a city, as a group, right? So that's debt per capita. Debt to personal income, so basically taking the average personal income by our total debt, and this kind of goes along with the other one. So this has your actual income divided by the people, which is about 75 million. They include, and you have to do it how they do it, which includes children. Like I think there's like 400 something children, and they aren't making $75,000 or $58,000 a year. I don't think so, because my kids are slacking if that's the case, which equals about 75 million. So then basically you take, that's how we get to there, and then you get a percentage from that. So total debt minus the total income, right, which is 8.7%. So again, just measuring that against averages, we're doing extremely well because North Dakota is 12.3%. We're 8.7. So we're like healthy, we're doing better, right? Even though it's a lower number, so it doesn't make sense, but just take the inverse. So we're doing really, really good in that area. So now you might be wondering, like, why do I even like talk about this stuff? Why does it matter, right? Well, it matters for like financial planning and forecasting. So we've talked a lot about different like special projects and big numbers, 3 million, the 500,000, all this sort of stuff, like, which obviously we should do very cautiously and wise, and like when this sort of thing is coming down. And this is all available. It's probably, you cannot see this, I know, but you can obtain a copy. Basically, I just put it in a spreadsheet. I did all those kind of health markers that I just discussed. I put them in a spreadsheet, and then I went each year till 2044 when we'd be technically out of debt if we never took on any more debt, right? So then we can measure our margins. And what I mean by that is like how far away we are from healthy as opposed to unhealthy, right? So so if you have this, which you can get later, it basically, we can go through our remaining debt. We as a city commission or just as citizens or whatever it may be, could look at this or kind of understand like, okay, well, we have about a $3 million project coming up. What is our margin of health that we have, right? Can we take this on? Are we going to be in an unhealthy state? Because we do pay a pretty good number in interest each year. It's a lot. It's like, I think it's like 3%, well, obviously 3.5 or whatever, which is easily like, I think it was like $80,000, $100,000 a year, something like that. So, you know, I mean, it's kind of a lot, but overall we're sitting really healthy. But basically you could take this, kind of see, okay, so in 3 years we have those coming off. That's when we can maybe take on some more debt. Or if we wanted to kind of look at other financial strategies where it's like, okay, we have some big projects coming up, we need to save, we need to whatever. You could check your margins and then make an artificial kind of scarcity, you know, kind of budgeting or whatever, maybe just in household, like how much do we got for groceries? And then you kind of shrink it a little bit because then you save some money, right? It's easier to save money than to earn more. So that's kind of the thought process. I hope that wasn't too rambling. I hope that made sense. So overall, like synopsis or just quick little summary is Washburn appears to be doing really, really well with these objective factors financially. And then the kind of question going forward, which I'm not looking to answer here tonight, but like, what do we want to do with that, right? Some possibilities we could keep with kind of what we're doing, which is obviously working to a degree. Or maybe like some of those people have talked, and like in Garrison, there's been big deals about specials and that sort of stuff. Like maybe what we could think about is, since we have a surplus, since we're sitting good financially, save for the future, because roads don't exactly appreciate, they don't exactly get better, right? So if we had saved for the future with those margins that we currently have, we'd be able to buy down future projects possibly, so then there'd be less specials, everyone would obviously still pay for it, but then there'd be less interest in the future. So kind of future-wise, where we want to go. So that's why I put this together, just kind of for myself, because then I could kind of quantify and like, okay, what is all this? What's kind of going on? But also just so we could kind of know where we're at. So that's why I did that. That's where we're at. I don't really have any suggestions except just opening it up for discussion, I guess.
I really like what you just presented.
Sure.
I've been working on some things like that, and I've been visiting with Jamie about working on our infrastructure with our roads and stuff, how to try to, if we can prolong our streets and then stay on top of problems and fix things right away so they don't become a bigger problem. So, yeah, what you presented was really good.
Sure.
Yeah, because we're gonna meet and try to play around with some scenarios. If, you know, say you got a $3 million road project, if we do have a surplus of money in the 2% sales tax or other places, if we want to buy down the principal of the, you know, instead of paying the full loan and specialing it all out, can we pay down and get some of that principal knocked out so there's not so much going to interest? But we got to play with that. And I think the thing that'll come up is, you know, people well, we got specialed on ours, well, this isn't fair that they're getting that, you know, so that's gonna be a hurdle that we'll have to play with, but we'll just have to run the numbers and see if there's something that makes sense. So,
Yeah, and then that would be definitely a thing, not necessarily all through 1%, but because now, like with all this, we know how much margin we would have between being unhealthy or whatever it may be. That could go into a separate fund, like a capital improvement fund. I think that's the fancy name that they use or whatever. And that'd be literally just kind of money in the piggy bank for a big project. So then that big project comes in, that money goes towards that, buys it down. And I don't think we'd be able to just, no more specials ever again. I don't think that'd be a really big jump that I don't think would be possible, but we could work our way to less specials, less debt, less interest payments if we wanted to.
And then what Jamie and I talked about also is by doing these improvements, we could prolong our streets so we could spread those specials out further, hopefully. Right, Jamie?
yeah, that's what we're trying to play with is, and that's probably gonna sit down with Adam probably next week when he gets back and start that process going, you know, cause if we can spend thousands on repair, maybe we'd save millions on rip out and replace, but we'll just have to see what that looks like. So,
Yeah, and then also with this forecast, I think that would help you know. So like, okay, so we need to repair for like 3 years because we don't have enough margin, or in 3 years, if there's more margin, then you know that more debt can come in. So it kind of gives you insight.
Okay. Thank you very much for that
No problem.
update. Is there any more discussion about each topic? If not, we're gonna move forward. The 2026 budget. Touch on that, Chelsea?
You guys have the 2026 budget in front of you. Currently, the value of 1 mil is roughly $5,600. We are looking to approximately levy 64 mills as it sits right now, as the budget is prepared right now. We do probably have to approve the prelim today. We do have our budget public hearing in September. Things can be finalized after that, but this is just a rough draft of where we're sitting at right now. I did send you everybody else's budget for the forestry board, the airport, the fire department, the park board. The one thing that I don't have in here for an allotted large amount of money that we can discuss if we do want to put on there is Clayton's request of $1.5 million for a new building. They do have their vehicle fund that we levy for and put that money in there. But a discussion I think that needs to be had, or how we want to pursue this, is for the new fire department, how the city, if they want to. I mean, Clayton has not formally put in a request, but we have discussed of what the city would do to help. Do we put that in the budget? Do we take some money out of sales tax? We have that category for infrastructure. It is there, that some of that could go to them, but that was the real big one on, I guess, for the other entities' requests for budgets of a large amount of money.
You stated 1.2,
1.5, I think is what.
1.5.
1.7? Oh, I shorted you.
It's going up.
It's going up.
Well, that was the original broadcast.
And that is from a rough drawing that you got submitted to you, correct?
That was from, Tim Miller.
That was, yeah, really only the big one on. Otherwise, the forestry board asked for a little bit more money. Otherwise, the fire department asked for their 4 mills that they're given. The airport gets their mills, the library gets their mills, kind of all within the same, and then whatever is in the general, that is in there, if you guys have any questions on it. It is lower than what it was last year. We did increase it a little bit last year due to the fact we didn't know what was gonna go on with this property tax this year. We are capped at only increasing it at 3%, but like I said, I did, instead of increasing that, I think, it was roughly at like 80 mills last year. We're down to 64 as it sits right now. This is a rough draft. You can go through it more in depth. I don't know if there's anything you guys want to ask questions on, look at.
Do you want a preliminary approval?
We can, yes, if there's nothing that you want, because then if anybody does ask, this is what I'm going to give them for our public hearing that we will have on our budget in September.
I feel like I'll be doing this for the next few months. Maybe we just approve and then ask questions, come to the different hearings, make changes? How do you
Yes,
do
because we
this?
will have our public hearing before September, our meeting. Then we'll have to do that, and then if we don't finalize it in September, if we want to make changes to increase, decrease, whatever we do with here, because we're not limited, then it is due to Beth by October 11th, which is also our date. So I prefer to have that approved before that date if we have to have a special hearing.
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary budget.
Second. Oh, I apologize.
No, that's fine. Is there any more discussion? Chelsea, I'd like to thank you for all your hard work. I'm sure Erica helped you with this as well. Tim?
Yes.
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 And yes. All right, consent agenda.
Okay, that's me again, I guess. So this is, should be pretty easy thing. I wrote out a whole little thing, but I think I've talked enough, so I'll just, the basics. We have all these things at the beginning. And it's fun to race Jamie for the second, and I think I'm winning still. But all that can be just placed in one, and they're usually non-controversial topics that can, if there's any changes, you can say, hey, use this. A lot of other cities will do this, and it's called a consent agenda. So it's non-controversial, all approved with a single motion and second. It just because you have a consent agenda does not mean that those things can never be talked about again, like if there's any squabbles with like the agenda itself or anything like that.
Or a mistake on a minutes or something.
Or a mistake, right, exactly. So it'd be like, I'd like to remove this sort of thing, and then they can be removed and then talked about separately. So it's not like a binding thing, but mainly just an efficiency thing. So it pretty much just gets us, and just to be clear, you could even add like routine licenses and permits. People will just literally like get through 9 agenda items just like that. Because like, did you review this, the consent agenda, motion to approve, boom, and you're through 8 items. Instead of the real quick back and forth thing. So it's just an option, just something I was thinking about.
I'm pretty sure that's the way the county does it. And then we actually have done that the last 2 organizational meetings where you have had a number of, for instance, permit stuff like that. A motion was made to approve like 7 through 13 or something like that. So it's not anything that hasn't been done before. So I think it's a good idea, especially if you could include more in there, especially if you do your homework ahead of time and you look them over. You could do that. So I would move that you'd approve that. So.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay,
Just to give some more information, sorry, I should be specific in the context of Washburn, what would kind of be on there. So it'd be the approval of normal meeting minutes from previous meetings, approval of special meeting minutes from previous meetings, approval of financials, and approval of bills. So those would be our 4 things for now. If we wanted to add more later, we could.
Yep.
You know? But that would literally just, I mean, it'd save us 3 minutes, so is it that big of a deal? No, it's not. But just kind of a nice little thing, just increase the efficiency a little bit.
thank you, Keith.
Mhm.
All right, Tim,
What?
did you make a motion to?
Motion and second. I guess
Motion
we're
and a
doing the
second.
discussion.
Yeah. Yes.
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 And yes. Thank you. Okay, janitor position.
I could start and then you can fill in all my gaps. So basically, we don't have a janitor. So the city people are doing the janitor stuff. I think it was 2 meetings ago, like, okay, let's look into commercial, let's look into that. Commercial, I believe I reported at our last meeting, I'd have to look. That'd be a good fill-in, but not an all-the-time option. You know, I'm sure it's good work and stuff, but just cost-wise, it would not be very effective. Whereas we're in a unique position right now where we have a seasonal employee that's like really seasonal, like all seasons. So it would be kind of a
All
thing
seasons.
of moving him into another full-time employee. We would have him during the seasons that we need him. And then in the off ones, so like for example, like winter or whatever it may be, if there's not much snow, well, he is specifically, or she, it would be he right now, would be the cleaning guy. Okay, this week you're deep cleaning the kitchen, you're deep cleaning this, right? So we'd have after this event, sort of thing. So basically it would be a seasonal employee, a city employee, and a like janitor position all into one. We have a really good candidate who's currently working for us. That's what we kind of talked about.
Yes. You got it.
Okay, well, I guess there's more to add. Benefits would be there.
Yes.
Yep, so benefits, pay increase, which we can obviously talk about the specifics. We talked a little bit about HR, in HR. So all that would be a thing, becoming full-time, obviously, right? It's in the budget. We looked at that a little bit, like we have margin for that, especially because he pretty much is full-time right now anyways, you know, just because we need the help, there's a lot to do, so. I guess any questions?
Do we have those figures of the change from part-time to a full-time employee?
What do we say, Chelsea?
Yeah, so we would like to increase his wages. So also this employee who is a summer employee took his water tests and passed them, which also constitute as a normal benefited full-time employee for a 50-cent raise because he passed both of them. Got his level 1s on both of those, which was approved at certain levels for certifications, came with a 25-cent raise. So that was in there. And I think for a 50-cent raise, so we would like to move him up to $25 per hour, plus he'd be benefited with all our benefits that we have currently as a full-time employee.
And how much do our benefits add up for, employees?
On like 20% of their wages? on
Yeah.
average about?
It kind of depends now because we're not on a strict plan anymore, so it depends on your age, your gender, what health insurance is. Vision is $24.50 a month, I believe, or that's dental and vision's like $10.50 a month. Those are fairly cheap, but health is a scale, so I can't.
Sure.
I'd say roughly, I guess I don't know, it'd just be a single one for currently. Roughly $10,000 a year.
And we did average it, we took like all the employees and then just how much the benefits cost, and it's about like 18 to 20% of the wages, so just if you're going along with the averages, if it's 25, well, I can't do that math right now, 25 times 40 times 12, you know, no, thank you. 18 to 20% of his annual income would be what it would be, so.
And we would just like to waive his probationary period, I guess, as well, being
Because
he
he's
has
already been here.
been here for over a year.
Yep, oh, but we also talked about the end of year merit increase, there would not be a merit increase this year. So there's cost of living that we usually do as well as merit. There's nothing to evaluate because it'd be like him starting right away as a full-time, plus he's already getting that wage bump and it'd be more than a merit increase anyways. So that is one thing that we talked about, so it's not like come in end of the year as if you had the full year, now full-time benefits, you know, it might just get the wheel spinning a little bit too fast as interest percents do, but yeah.
So what was the last janitor making?
I think it was 1825, 1850, or was it 19, or was it 20?
I think it was 20.
But this
Yeah,
one will be
yeah.
a janitor / everything else too that he's doing, so.
Yeah.
So that,
Because the janitor part's just probably the smallest part of his job, so.
right,
But it's just instead of hiring a different part-time person, we can just make it here, then there's more in the know.
How much vacation would he be qualified for then?
The first 3 years, 8 hours per month. So 12 days.
Okay. And then all these duties would be part of his, job description?
Yes.
Okay.
Cause he would be hired, I mean, a little bit different than the rest of them, but with the intent of making sure that all our buildings are still maintained and cleaned.
Okay. And then when he's on sick leave or, vacation, who would take over those job duties?
One of us would just have to fill in,
Or the commercial option
or that.
is an option, so that's still on the table. The gentleman who owns the business does really nice work, and I have a quote and stuff from him, so. If that was a thing, hey, how you doing? We got this coming up, are you available? So we have other options besides just employees, so. Because part of that would be that, the person who'd be having this position, you talk to him, might be coming weekends, might clean after this, before this sort of thing. You know what I mean? So that's a little bit more difficult to be like, hey, Adam, would you mind going this week? Yeah, on a Saturday night or whatever. So, yeah, there's other options, but
My only other concern would be if he's on a special project, working with Adam or Zach or whatever, and then cleaning needs to be done, is he able to come off of those special projects?
Yeah,
Julie's
that's, he won't, yeah, won't
responsibility?
have all that because cleaning will be
Okay,
a top priority.
I just wanna clarify
Yes.
that, so.
Yep.
So we're not hiring him and then hiring their janitor.
No, that's gonna be that's top of the priority, especially when there's events going on, especially at the hall coming now winter. School starting, that hall is gonna start being heavily used again. That is going to be a main focus, especially every morning, making sure those things are being done.
Alright.
And also, we won't need summer help either, so that's not that's taken care of as well, so.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Is there any more discussion?
Has our discussion been specific enough where we'd have like wages, benefit, everything that you'd need, where we could do the change now, or do we have to discuss anything else?
It should be good, cause I think, yeah, what we would do is, obviously, we approved it today, it'd become effective today, so.
And that's fine with me, because we did talk about it all at the meeting, I just, if anyone has any changes, so like,
Right.
2550, 2450, you know, like that sort of thing, so.
That's why I asked a couple of those questions, just to clarify, so.
And I guess we're in the middle of a pay period, so that'll become effective starting next week, when we start with the new pay period.
Thank you. Any more discussion? If not, Tim?
Yes, yes.
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 And yes. Thank you. All right, Harvey, resignation.
I'm sure you guys all read it. Miranda has submitted her letter of resignation. We'll just have to move to accept that.
I move to accept it.
Second.
Any more discussion? Not hearing any? Tim?
Yes.
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 And yes.
Mr. Chairman, I will recuse from 21 and join back in 22. I'll recuse myself from item 21
Sure.
and be back in 22.
All right. Doctor, resignation.
Tim has submitted his resignation letter as well. He will be abandoning us after tonight's meeting and moving to Bismarck. So if you guys feel free to not accept that, go ahead.
I will make a motion to accept.
Second.
Any more discussion? Tim, I just wanna thank you for all your hard work,
Thank you.
everything that you've done for Washburn over the last, your lifetime.
Thanks, Mark.
You've fulfilled a lot of people's goals, so thank you very much. All right. Jamie?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes.
And I'll be back in 22, so.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, appointment or special election?
There's two different ways that it can be done. It can be done, you can't make an appointment for, I believe, 14 days.
Correct.
I think it would be, being how there's two positions, I know I filled Marv's term when he resigned, and it wasn't done by appointment, they had a special election. So, and I guess my recommendation to this commission is that it's done by special election, because I think it's imperative and important that the community picks their representatives of who they want to represent them. Not, could be a 2-to-1 vote, you know? I don't think that's fair to the community, so, my recommendation, because I'm still a commissioner, is that both mine and Miranda's positions be filled by special election. Now, if you choose to go appointment, then, it just takes 40 signatures on a petition to push it to a special election, so that could easily be done in a day, so. But I think it's the right way to do it, in my opinion. I think it's the fairest way for the community. It gives more people opportunity to get involved in the process if they want to run. And so that would be my recommendation as a commissioner, that these be filled by special election. And that could be done November, what was the date, Chelsea?
The absolute earliest could be November 17th. I would not recommend that day because
Right.
that is, as of tomorrow, that is 95 days from that.
I'm just saying that would have been the earliest, yeah.
Yes, just because we have to be able to, well, we have to wait the 14 days, today.
Yep.
Unless you guys approve it today to go to a special election. Otherwise, if it's a petition, so yeah, November 17th could be the absolute earliest. I would look at probably having a special election in December, right away in the beginning, if that's what it goes to.
What are the rest of your thoughts?
I've been contacted, and I've contacted a couple people that are upstanding citizens in Washburn that are interested in possibly joining the commission. I know that's been done in the past. I think, talking with Jamie's also been in contact with people that see the need for good quality people that are upstanding in the community, so.
How would a special election change it though, because they can run for the office?
Well, because we could fill that void right away, and then that way we can hopefully move through.
They would only fill until 26 though.
Yes, they would,
Right.
if there's an appointment made for two people, then, those two people would have to rerun, and circulate their petitions after the first year in January and be on the June election.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's
So they
done
would
by
only
special
fulfill.
election, excuse me, if it's done by special election, they would fill till 28.
Correct.
But then we would have 4 positions running, right? Because Jamie and Keith both come up
If you
in
did, if you
26.
If you did it by appointment, if you did it by special election, it would be regular rotation.
Yeah.
But there's already people that are.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, there's already people, it's gonna go to a special election no matter what, Mark, because there's already people that are gonna circulate petitions. You know, and it only takes 40. Chelsea will have them in 2 days. She'll have petitions, so if you wanna let people circulate petitions, that's fine. But either way, it's going to a special election, so we can make it easier as a commission and just send it to a special election. And that's not a threat, it's just what's out there. You know, cause the number of people that I visited with, I'll even help circulate the petition because I'm that passionate about it. That the right way to do it, the right way to fill mine and Miranda's position is by these people that sit in the room here and the people that are all around here.
Mhm.
Not by a 2-1 vote or a 3-0 vote or whatever. I just don't feel that's ethical, so it's legal, but I don't think it's the right way to do it.
Just to follow up some of my thoughts on that, so just given the circumstances, right, like it's a long term and it's 2 of them. So like, let's just say that the 3 remaining commissioners represented a third of the people, right? So basically you'd have those 3 making this decision for everybody with 2 voices of the people currently missing. Whereas because it's so long of an appointment, what I mean by that, it's not like, well, there's 3 months left, okay, let's just get it done. You can't even get a special election in time for that, right? But there's such a large amount of time and it's 2 spots, so it disproportionately affects the opinions of those that still remain on the board. So to fulfill the democratic process, it would be most ethical, in my mind at least, to give the voice of the people to the people. Because there's time, there's space, it's not an emergency to get it in, sort of thing. And if there is some upstanding citizens, which we have many in this community, they should run and they should be voted in, not by the people, not by us, would be my suggestion.
We have appointed several people over the years, correct?
Those are 2 committee positions.
No, commission
Yeah.
appointments.
Yeah, to like, you mean like planning and zoning and stuff like that, or? what?
No, I mean, when commissioners have resigned in the
Yeah,
past.
It's been done both ways, but
Right.
I'm just saying, I'm glad that when I got on, I wasn't on by appointment. I was done by election, because then I knew the public wanted me to be their commissioner, not 3 or 4 people. And so whether it's been done in the past or not, cause it's been done both ways. I can say the same thing, Mark, in the past, it's been done by special election.
Right.
It was up to each commission, and there's been times when commissions have gone ahead and wanted to do an appointment, and the public said, we're circulating the petition and forced to the special election. I'll guarantee you that's what'll be done here anyway. Cause the people are already ready to carry the petitions. And it won't take long to get 40 signatures.
But how, we don't know who those candidates are. Maybe it's some of these people that would run anyways.
But that doesn't make sense, Mark.
Well, it does.
The special election doesn't hinder your people that you wanna pick to run for election. It just hinders them from being picked by you instead of being picked by the public in which they're gonna represent.
Well, I'm not saying I'm the one that's gonna pick that person.
Well,
It
you
could
said
be-
you've already talked to people, so
Yeah, just to find out if there's interest out there.
then encourage
So-
them to run.
Well, I know, but Jamie has done the same. Keith might know some people. It could be somebody that we're all in favor of.
But is the public in favor? That's the most important thing.
Well-
The public in which we serve that's the most important, that they choose their leaders. That, like Keith said, that's the democratic process.
I agree.
So,
But, no, I'm not trying to argue the point.
I'm not either, I'm just debating.
But I'm just saying
debating the
that,
point. You can do it either way, but I'm
Right.
saying, either way, it's gonna end up in election.
well, the public counts on us to make the right decisions and vote the right way now, so.
But we were elected by the whole public to represent us.
Sure.
This is different, cause there's too many times when it can be cherry picked and hand picked, and you can load one way or the other. So and that's not an accusation, but I'm just saying, that's the danger in it. The safety net is to let the public choose who they want to represent them. That's the safety net. And you're taking that safety net away when you decide to do appointments. So,
And I'm holding back the extreme urge to draw on the chalkboard. So basically, there's 5 of us. There's, like, let's just pretend that all 5 of us, we had people that voted for us that didn't vote for anyone else. They don't like that guy, right? Like literally 1/5 the pie, 1/5 the pie, 1/5 the pie, 1/5 the pie. All together, 5 out of 5 would be 100% of the population represented on this board.
Sure.
Okay? It would be very watered down and diminished then if there was 3 out of 5 of that same population with their representatives choosing the remaining 2 out of 5. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah.
So it would definitely
No, I-
water down the democratic process, just because there's so much time left,
That's right.
right? So for everyone to have their voice, this would be the best in an election.
Well,
Cause
Don't-
you're saying if you appoint, it'll be January election anyway, right? Or no?
if you
No,
appoint someone.
July.
No, in June.
Or
You
June?
can, yeah,
Or
you
June.
can start circulating
You'd
petitions
have to,
come,
right.
the first of the year,
Yeah.
so. You have to wait 14 days anyway. Nobody can be appointed tonight. You have to wait 14 days to be able to appoint somebody. And in those 14 days, if somebody were to bring me, ballot or form saying they are requesting a special election, they can do so with the required amount of signatures based off of our last election, in 2024. And they would be half that because we had 2 open positions.
Yep.
So if we go ahead and appoint somebody, say in September, they will have to rerun and be on the ballot in June of 26.
Yep.
So that would make 4 commissioner positions available on that ballot.
That throws off our rotation then to get.
No, because they'd only run for.
It
for
would
a
be an
2-year.
it'd be an
It'd
unexpired
two
2-year
years
term.
and 2 4 years.
So I'm just gonna use for my example because your term would be up in June of 26. You still would be your 4-year term. The 2 appointees would have to go as a 2-year term. Now, they're not guaranteed that either because now anybody can run for those positions come June as well. Anybody can run if we go to a special election. It's same way, you just have to fill out your letter of interest, get the signatures, and turn that in, and then your name would go on the ballot.
So with that, I would move that we would send this to a special election to fill the 2 vacancies.
Second.
any more discussion? Tim?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Motion passed. All right, we're gonna move forward. Task order 19, drainage improvement funding assistance. Sure.
Good evening to you guys. Tim, I just wanted to say thank you for everything. It's been really great to work with you on this commission, and I know I've said this to you before, but I just want to say it with everybody else in the room. It makes my job a lot easier when you have a commissioner that's really dedicated to the town and does their homework, and you can move things along. And you really have done things with what's best in mind for the citizens, so I just wanted to say thank you for that.
And I appreciate it, and you know, I've done this 19 years now, and you've been really, really good to work with. I've learned a lot of things, and so I just appreciate the partnership that we've had in working on the projects that I've worked with you, so thank you very much.
Yep. So, and looking forward to seeing you maybe in Bismarck once in a while. So.
You said you'd buy lunch.
Yeah, I'll get you.
Maybe a helicopter.
We'll see. All right, so task order 19. I talked to you guys last month. That was that proposal letter to do the funding assistance to get Department of Water Resources funding to help with the drainage improvements. So task order 19 is exactly that, written up, and I got 2 copies for you, Mark, there, if you want to sign them. Is there any questions that anybody has on that task order? The scope of work I took right from the proposal letter, and that's right in the task order. And if the commission's still interested in us moving forward to getting that, acquiring those funds, we'll start that work. I did talk to Jamie a little bit about it. You know, with there could be some development that happens, and he's concerned about maybe hamstringing where that development goes. I don't think that would be a large issue as far as like where the development goes, if it's going to be in one spot or the other in the Heritage Heights area. I think that the drainage issue still has to be dealt with either way. So I think it would be a good idea to try to get that funding from Department of Water Resources, especially since they said that it would be something that would be possible for the city to get. So any questions that you guys have on that?
So we need to proceed with the task order just to, for the possibility to access the.
Right, so what DWR wants is they want us to be able to, we have to fill out the application, and they have an economic analysis that we do, and there's inundation maps. They want us to show where the damage might be if there was a flooding occurrence in that area. And I know that in recent years we haven't had a ton of flooding occurrences, but it has happened historically.
Yep.
And since we have looked at the drainage for a while up there, and if there's going to be some kind of development that happens, we want to be able to properly deal with that water as it comes through there. And I know that some of the roads in that area are definitely was discussed tonight. It's right up there by Rough Rider Road. Custer Drive has been very affected by the amount of water that comes through there, and just the lack of storm sewer drainage off of that road has kind of allowed that road to become beaten up a little bit. So this would help alleviate, if we were to get these funds, that's where that money would be put towards, is helping to alleviate the drainage up there in Heritage Heights. So.
Do you have anything to add to that, Jamie? This is your baby, so.
Yeah, and then just as we talked, whether this doesn't paint us in a corner, whether we go, if that development comes in and say we find out maybe going east or.
Right.
It just gets it going.
All this does is get the city at the table to receive funding from DWR. So that's what this task order is doing. It's not, we're not designing, although we've looked at different options on how we would deal with this water, talking to the McLean County Water Board, and in our studies that we've done in the past for the water that you guys have dealt with up there, we have options on which way we could go. And if there was a development that happens in the next year, that we have the ability to adjust how we would design that. If there was some big changes that happened up there. So.
What's your thoughts? Well, I guess if we wanna proceed with trying to get state funding, we would have to approve this task order,
Right.
so. I'll make a motion to approve this task order,
Second.
19.
I'll second it.
Okay, any more discussion? Tim?
Yep.
Jim?
Yes. Yes.
And yes, all right,
Thank you.
I'll sign those after the
Okay,
meeting.
sounds good. The next thing you got is the
Yeah.
AQUEST update.
Update.
There's been a little bit of rain in the state this year, more than we probably typically have received. So, the various seal coat, groups that are out there have been a little bit behind. I talked to, one of the crew chiefs that's working for Aztec, and they're up in Watford City on a job. They're a little over a week behind on that job, so they've been pushed back a little bit. They have to get this job done by September 15th. So I expect that will happen. It'll happen, they'll get it done before September 15th, but I don't have a definitive date for you. A lot of times their crew chiefs don't even know where they're gonna be the next day. It just depends on how the weather rolls. So I was hoping to have the seal coat project done by now, much like the PRV project,
Yep.
which we have on there too. But a lot of things beyond the contractor's control that they haven't started on it. But as soon as I do hear of that time when they'll be here, I'll let you guys know as early in advance as that I can. The contractor has to let me know at least 7 days in advance before they start anything. And they'll be responsible for all the traffic control, getting parked cars moved, off of streets, having them marked so that they can get the seal coat project done. So we'll do everything that we can so that's as smooth as possible. So. All right, PRV project, a little bit of the same. The precast concrete supplier has not quite produced that vault for Chris to start work on that. So as soon as they get that done, that's what we're waiting on, is the precast concrete vault. All the other materials are ready to go. So that's the update that I have from that contractor.
Yep.
So, any questions on that one? Okay, we just talked about, for the street and drainage improvements, we just talked about task order 19. Thank you for that. We'll get that application will be submitted by December, and we should know hopefully early in 2026 if we do get that funding for that drainage improvements. We are working on the flex. I know you guys talked about a lot of financial stuff and financial health of the city. That flex fund grant is something that we applied for before for the street work up in Heritage Heights that we all know is kind of we need to get some work done up there. So we are applying for that flex fund grant again, and there's been some small communities in North Dakota last year that got some pretty good funding for that. So we're hopeful on the second application that we can maybe get something on that, and if we do, that'll help with hopefully getting some work done up there. So working on that one yet, and I'll let you guys know once that's submitted, and of course if we hear anything on it, if we got it or not. No update really for lead and copper rural technical assistance. We're still waiting for state funding on that one to help out with that. I talked to you guys about that before. Unless there's questions, I'll leave it as that. Okay. All right, Riverside Park Road improvements. So a couple months back, I met with Mark and Jamie to look at Riverside Park Road. We had the special road funds grant that we got for that,
Yes.
for in the amount of I think it was 240 or so $1,000 to do some work there. So what I'm proposing that we could do is we could add some curb and gutter and some storm sewer to Riverside Park Road to capture water that we have come running down the road, and then water that's coming down the hill into our curb and gutter and this valley gutter, and we have a couple curb inlets. And then of course we would do some slope stabilization and do some pavement repair work as well, where there's been some asphalt that's been kind of caving a little bit. I have a cost estimate too that I submitted for all the work too, and the construction costs are at $285,000. With with that grant, it would take care of, a lot of that. And that would, fully utilized, it's a 60-40 matching grant, so the grant would pay up to 60% of the construction costs, and the city would have to pick up 40%. So that's, just wanted to update you guys on where the cost estimate would be, and if that's something you still think you wanna go forward for. I know we have a couple commissioners that are out now. If you guys wanted to wait, that'd be an option too, and I can readdress it later. Or if you guys were interested in wanting to go forward with this, then we could, look at doing that too.
Just a couple things, just to recap, this grant doesn't cover engineering,
Does not cover engineering costs, no.
any other,
Just the construction, just construction costs,
construction.
yep.
So with any of this, will we have to do any other stuff like environmental or historical or archaeology?
Not for this type of funding, no.
Okay, so, yeah, will there be any other strings attached, obviously it'll be your fees, right? You
You're
know,
right.
So, and then I think what we're trying to do is get the, how do we say it, the best bang for our buck for that grant. So, we won't have to do any more studies to do what we're doing
Nope.
then?
You wouldn't have to do any more studies. No, what I would do if you guys wanted to continue moving forward this, is I would come with another task order basically, and I would mobilize surveyors to come out. We have some survey information already, but we would survey the road in the, the slope, and we would get that, and we put plan sheets together on how we would do some of that, the drainage construction and the curb. But, we would wanna, get that slope stabilized again, how it's kind of breaking and falling a little bit between the road and the river right now,
Sure.
so.
And, just another question, when we met, we were just kind of seeing what it looked like and then what we could do with this. You already have this on your, is there any way I could ask you to split this for your slope stabilization for and the curb and gutter? And
Yeah.
Split them out?
Split the curb and gutter off
Yeah,
and just do like the asphalt fixes and the slope.
yes.
Yeah, I could do that.
If you
Yep,
do that.
sure, I could definitely do that. Split off the curb and gutter and I would say storm sewer. Cause that's really where we're getting most of the cost and construction is gonna be putting storm sewer in and the curb
Yeah.
and gutter.
Yeah.
And I know that's what we talked about in here is where we would wanna try to collect that water and stop it from continually to come across, the road. It's just keeping it wet, and that's where we're seeing some of the slope edge slide a little bit.
Yeah, and that's like that time when we went down there and met and looked at it, you explained what the slope stabilization, and then didn't know how much that was gonna cost and.
Right.
And if we're gonna fully utilize that 250.
Yeah. So right now, with the construction cost total that we have, we'd be utilizing the full grant
For sure.
for what this cost is, and there's contingencies built in there.
Yeah.
So for construction contingency and unknown construction costs that would pop up, there's 25% contingency built into that. So, it could be that it's less than that, but we put a contingency on there to be conservative so that, hey, look, we're not gonna go over what the budget is right now,
Sure.
so.
Do you guys got any other opinions on this or a way to use this money or?
So what I'll do, Jamie, is I'll be in touch with you and I can break out that cost and then I'll just talk with you about it and then we can see how quickly we wanna move, cause something like this, obviously, we're not gonna do these improvements this year. This would be something we would do next year if, we'd wanna be able to utilize that money in 2026. Otherwise I think we basically gotta turn it back. So,
What would be the deadline?
doing the work on this wouldn't take me super long. If we have all winter to work on it, that would be fine.
So what's our deadline to use the grant or?
I think it's 2026.
May of 2026, isn't it? Or do we have the full year?
I
If it's not-
I thought it was the full year, but I'll check with Abby on that.
I think I have the paperwork filed away too. I can look at it and I can shoot you an email tomorrow.
Special road funds grant. Yeah, because if it is May, then we would really want to probably start it. And
Maybe
even,
it is
even a
August.
lot of this concrete work could be done, in the spring. I'd rather do it in the late summer and fall than in the spring, but,
Sure, yeah. it's kinda messy.
but we'll verify that date, so. Any other questions on that?
No, you guys got any?
And then really, I have some notes written here for the special assessment stuff, but I'll let Chelsea, if you wanna talk about any of that stuff,
Sure.
I'll leave that to you.
Okay.
And then we talked about, Mark, I talked to you and Jamie both about Boat Ramp Road on the River Egg side of the highway. And I think you have a plan on what you wanna do there, and I think that's fine. If you wanted to add some gravel and do some grading work, really that's the best that you can do right now. If it was something that you want us to we could put another application in for a special road funds grant. But like what we got for Riverside Park Road, and that would really help a lot if that's something the city was interested in doing, is paving or doing curb and gutter on there. You know, that would be great, I think, for the city, but obviously that's something you guys would wanna, if you wanna decide that, so.
Jamie and I talked about it, that I think we're gonna try to look at doing the work ourselves to
Okay.
try to save some
Yeah.
money.
I was gonna talk about this, under my portfolio, but
Okay.
since you're here, maybe we'll just talk about it.
Sure.
I just, met with Chris Truspekk, got some rough prices on some gravel and rock. You know,
Okay.
I don't know, cause right now, you know, there's some rock down the side kinda holding some of
Yep.
that stuff there.
Mhm.
So I got, you know, basically, at, $800 a delivered load, at 6 loads, that'd be 4,800. You know, the rock that he could get would be like 2 to 3 inch in diameter. That'd be about 900 a load by 6, that'd be 5,400. And then if you consider the guy's time worth anything, I don't know if you had 2 guys messing with that road, I just picked $150 an hour for equipment operating.
Okay.
So I basically come up with about 16,000 if we really wanted to, I mean, I wouldn't say really, but if we wanted to haul some stuff in and try to get that road up to par. I mean, or we could just try to grade it, or haul this in, but that's roughly what the ballpark would be to kind of get it
Yeah, and
passable.
and I know that when you have rain events, that road's pretty tough. And it's I would say it's lightly used, but it's still used, you know. And if you're gonna really, it's gonna be putting the time into it, putting the maintenance and time and grading into it.
Yeah.
Getting the materials great. If you have some gravel you can bring out there, and that's gonna be your most cost effective option,
Yeah.
obviously, than do if you wanted to like pave it or something. It's gonna be a lot more, but yeah, I think that'd be a good option if Chris can do that.
Yeah, I don't think we have to vote on this, but I was just gonna bring it informationally, that's ballpark what we came up with.
As long as it doesn't slow down on the PRV project, I guess.
Right.
Is what I would
Sure.
say.
Gotcha.
And then, maintenance is to keep up on maintenance, so.
Yeah,
it's
I
gonna
mean,
Prolong the,
you would talk to the county about their recommendations on that, and I think what they told you is that would sound really good to me. So, you know, it's just getting, as long as there's guys available or you know, city employees, gals available to work on that, then great. But you know, obviously, when we have the rains, that's going to be the tougher part. And we've had more rain, obviously. Like we talked about that a couple times tonight already. It's made it tougher to stay on top of some of those roads.
Yeah, that road's almost to the point where we should either block it off or fix
Yeah.
it, you know.
Yeah.
But, so it's getting pretty deep on the edges and.
Yeah.
So.
So that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
Nope.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you. All right, Chelsea, what do you have for us?
Well, I guess I'll
I'm
just.
sorry, portfolios. I was ahead of myself there. Tim, do you have anything?
I have nothing on my portfolio, but I'd just like to say a few words that, you know, Carol and I are gonna start a new chapter in our life in Bismarck, and I'd like to thank the community of Washburn. I've been through 7 elections and had the privilege of serving for 19 years, between 15 on the school board and now 4 on the city commission, so I just really wanna thank the Washburn community. I know I haven't always made everybody happy, that's for sure, but I wanna thank the Washburn community for their support, not only as a businessman, but as community member, my kids in school, everything else. I just want to thank the community. And then also want to thank, there is going to be an opening on planning and zoning because I was on there as a community member, not as a commissioner. So there will be an opening on there. This last year and a half, I couldn't have made it through planning and zoning without the help of Larry Thomas because he's extremely knowledgeable both in ordinances, infrastructure. So I want to thank Larry. And then I want to thank our city staff. You guys have just been unbelievable to work with. And Chelsea, you're an awesome auditor. I've worked with a lot of people, and you guys have a real gem in Chelsea and Erica, Adam, and Zach, and all the way down. So just remember that, appreciate them, support them, and they do an excellent job for the city. So I just want to thank you for the years, and we'll move on. I'll be back to visit. So thank you, community.
Thanks, Tim.
It wasn't a portfolio report, sorry.
No, that's fine. Do you have anything more to bring up?
Well, I guess, I don't know if I can ask Larry and Lynn, do we wanna talk about anything we met about, or do we wanna wait till the next meeting as far as development status, or?
I would think there's not much to tell, just that, you know, we did meet with some, potential areas for development. And it's kind of up in the air right now until we have another meeting.
Okay, so we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to wait at least a month.
Okay, yep, we'll just wait then, so. We covered the boat ramp road, just, under airport portfolio that, obviously, if you guys drove by, you can see the construction's happening now on the apron. And come fall, they're working on getting their, developing an instrument approach procedure. Basically, that means you can get down through the clouds and get to the, runway, you know, through your instruments. So that's kind of what's going on out there. And that's all I have.
All my stuff was agenda items, so.
All right, I just want to thank Tim again for his hard work. And that's pretty much all I have. Chelsea, do you have anything on your?
I will have, so we have a special assessment assistance program that you can apply for. It is income based. It is only for water and sewer specials. It does not account for any street specials. I will have that form available by the middle to end of this week. If you would like to look at that and apply for that, you can either get a 40, 60, or 100% paid on some of those specials if you qualify within the percentages of how it's calculated due. Based on that, so if you're interested or have questions about that, I should have that ready to go by the end of this week. Fall cleanup has been scheduled for September 22nd through the 26th with curbside on the 27th. Just remember that our budget public hearing will be September 8th at 5:30. And then we'll go into our commission meeting after that. And just, I guess, touch with Erica that we have met again as a special assessment committee. They are looking at a new methodology, waiting for that to come back, should have more of that information. We can schedule another meeting within probably the next week and get that rolling so we can get that on for this next tax statement because we can't go without another year.
And David's working on the draft policy right now.
Yes, he was out today when I called him so we could have an update on that. But he was out today so I couldn't talk to him. So we're hopefully have that policy that we can get into place too within the next couple of months and get that finalized so we don't hopefully have these issues moving forward. And I guess, yeah.
I got a question for you. I should have brought it up when we were talking about the special election and stuff. One of my concerns was to fill those positions for portfolios. So where do we manage going forward with the portfolios that are now?
I think my portfolio could easily be handled by Adam.
Okay.
Yeah. And the police.
Yeah, we should have, that was one of my concerns of.
But I'm just saying, like, the answer to it is and Miranda's I mean, we have a police department that is excellent. They pretty much take care of themselves, so the police portfolio, if you stay out of their business, is an excellent, you know, takes very little maintenance, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, that was,
So I don't think you're gonna skip a beat, because Adam is more than capable of handling, you know, what I've got going on. I've been in contact with Chris, with Eric, that you're not gonna skip a beat. And the same with Miranda's, with our excellent police department, there won't be an issue.
and then with
Clayton-
HR and stuff.
When with Clayton on running our fire, we don't have nothing to worry about, Mark.
Okay, I guess if we would have discussed that detail, I would
Change
have,
your vote,
I would have changed my vote, yeah.
maybe. So,
The library would be fine with just the work.
Okay,
And
yeah,
then
that's,
still these topics
that
on
was-
and all that, so, yeah.
I should have brought that item up, but thank you. All right, superintendent report.
it was
We have
in,
any-
it was in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was submitted, with your information, so I guess if you have any questions on that, feel free to ask Adam when he returns on Thursday.
All right. Sounds good. All right, is there anything from the audience before we adjourn? Not hearing anything. Our next meeting is September 8th, 2025. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. There you go, Eric.
Appreciate that, Mark.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys, I'm gonna give one to Chelsea, so she just has it right away, cause Jordan already signed.
Oh,
So it's good to go. I'll give that one another copy.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
There's an application.
I didn't know if he was teasing, I didn't know if he was teasing today or what he was doing.
Made the two copies, so it's got Mark's and Jordan's signature. We'll get Abby and Zach.
Okay.
And then I'll be working on the application in the the economic analysis, yeah. So
Okay, let me know if you need help.
if there's some specifics, I'll give you specific questions, so hopefully it's not gonna be something that's.
I didn't see that.
It's the capital.
Where's Adam at?
On the gaming. How did that turn out?
We'd have a local nexus requirement. We'd have a local nexus requirement going forward, which I can show you. It's basically any future appointments would want to have these helping out.
So, is the, total letter next week?
Yes.
Okay. That was one thing I was trying, I wasn't clear on whether or not your grandfather became.
One that asked about the policies might be.
That's what I like.
With
So basically.